What's going on, YouTube? Could you all do me a favor? Could y'all like, comment, and subscribe for my video, man? Like, comment, subscribe on my videos. I went ask for even more from y'all. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. This title of this video is saying she could feel when you're on retention. Okay, what I mean by she can feel you are on retention. So you don't find her as a lust toy. You don't find her as, putting her number one. You respect and have values for yourself to a point that it rub off on others. Meaning, not even other women, but other people. To a point like that energy is very powerful when you enter the room, when you enter public. You ever notice when you on retention, a lot of women tend to watch you more? And what's so crazy, we live in a world where they get all the attention, you know what I'm saying? But you that different individual, you don't even look, you don't even give her the time of day, you don't even look her way for real. You know what I'm saying? Only thing you look at when you in a public place is what you coming in there to grab and leave on out and go on about your business and, go on out through your day. You're not being, hypnotized by her, body, her looks, or you're not being hypnotized by just, her outer side or the social media and all that stuff. Like, you have really purified your eyes to a point like women would know a man that walk in power versus a man that walk in weakness. Like, a man that walk in weakness is these dudes you saying lusting for women. Like, man, it's crazy. Like, these dudes will lust for women till they can't lust no more. 50, 60 years old. And, I know a lot of y'all see that with a lot of older guys, dating younger women because they, making them sugar daddies. It's like none could satisfy them in their generation. And it left them lonely. It either left their wife passing away, or it either left their wife divorcing them, due to a fact, a lot of guys, they, I don't know if you all ever witnessed guys being depressed when they ain't got no sex or haven't had any sex. Like, it's it's addictions to guys, like someone that's addicted to, smoking weed or gotta have weed. People that be having, gotta have weed, gotta have cigarettes, gotta have, things to fulfill them to make them feel good. Like, I know you all done heard people say plenty of times, man, I'd be depressed if I ain't getting no pussy. Or, oh, man, I'd be depressed if I don't smoke me no weed. Or I don't be depressed if I don't eat me nothing. All these things that people idle. But with you, you know what I'm saying? You don't idle those things. You able to tap in spiritually into your natural superpowers to a point you can live, without it, basically. You know what I'm saying? To a point that it don't make you jump. It don't make you go. It don't basically, set upon, like, for you to be on go mode to a point like you ain't tripping, if anything. You know what I mean? You're not tripping over none of that, sets and stuff. But you have some guys, like, it'll mess their mood up and not even understand. And that's the reason why they're so emotional, because you lusting so much to a point you starting to, get women energy. Most of these guys, you know what I'm saying, they don't have masculinity inside of them to a point that they not even understand, and they, not tapping into them to their inner self, and they taking on a woman's spirit, being super emotional, not even understanding. That's the reason they're so emotional, due to that reason. But what's good about you brothers that's on retention, man? Like, the beauty of you all being on retention, man, you good with or without a woman. But the beauty of retention, you attracting that godly woman and a woman that ain't out to take your energy. Cause man, they be ready to bite you. They be ready to attack you. You know what I'm saying, on retention. And it be all because of that seed that you have inside of you, that power. It's like they say, man, it's like negative always out to feed off light. Like, it's like these thoughts that's running around here, they don't know if they want a good guy. Spiritually, they want a bad guy, a guy that ain't shit, that they attracted to, or they tend to attract because of them not being shit and having standards for themselves and losing themselves to a point, like, you know what I mean? They be so wrapped in to a point like it's basically they attract what they are. They attract what they don't have respect within themselves about and everything. And it's like, they battling, they at a battle. They trying to, they want a good man, but then again, they so wrapped into, the man that they attract, or, the self-respect they don't have about themselves. And something I noticed in his life, people trying to get a quick fix, meaning everybody just hooking up with each other and not even taking time out to practice retention with gaining, self-evaluation within themselves. Like a lot of people, not even understanding that they actually block their inner self. They block their way of thinking to a point, like, them not even, they running away. Let's put it like that. They running away from themselves. And, nowadays people don't want to be single 3 months or a year, or, not even weeks. You got people that flop for weeks. But what's great about your energy, man, is powerful when it's in a room. And then on top of that, the longer you go on retention, no woman could fool you with lust or fool you, especially if you then practice retention before and, lost it to succubuses, or, attracted a succubus, and, you lost your seed, you lost your power, and you went back to, your lustful ways. But, you knew about retention. That's why you practice it or whatever. But, you got snatched by a succubus and knocked you off your path. And, this the beauty of this practice. You able to, fall down and get back up again and try it all over again. A lot of guys like, fuck it, I can't do it. I just can't, but not even understanding, like, that attraction it's deeper. Like I always tell y'all, it's deeper than a female attraction. Like, you attract multiple things when you tap into your inner powers and stuff within. Like, you tap into multiple powers or whatever. So, that's the beauty of you going. And, women, they able to, how when dogs sniff humans or even sniff other dogs, that's an energy thing. They more tuned in, energy wise, you know what I'm saying? Or, they do it a lot different than a human able to tell when, when they able to feed off energy or whatever. Yeah, we feel energy, yeah, we feed off energy, but the way that the dog do it, they sniff energy. You know what I'm saying? That's why they sniff their nose. That's them sensing energy, from the human, from the dog. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you had that energy that things could sense, and you start to, become attractive to a lot of things, as far as, the attraction, what, with like them calling it the law of attraction. But brothers, man, she sense your energy, but don't give in. Don't lose it for nobody, man. Gain that power within. It's a lot that gotta be done out here. Get focused, man. Elevate, man. Go higher, because I done seen this too many times. Brothers, lose their retention. Like, I done seen brothers doing it real good single. Like, women too doing it real good single. and they got snatched by, you know, a enemy or a person sent from the devil. And, you know, their energy went down, their money went down, hell, even their opportunities went down. But you got to build that power within. Someone told me this 2 days ago. A brother told me this 2 days ago, man. When you single, they give you time to establish everything as a man in this world. Then you know, God send you the right woman. But till then, you got to keep working on yourself, working on the physical, the inner, you know, just working on everything around you. Then, you know what I'm saying, the right one come in the picture. But a lot of people, you know, they tend to can't, because this life we live, every day we working, every day we going, every day, you know, we got to keep pushing. Every day we got to wake up, you know, and learn ourselves. And, you know, something I notice, a lot of people are not good with, you know, spiritually tapping in. You know, fuck the worldly, you know, let me scratch the worldly part out. But spiritually tapping in, you know, I done been in relationships myself, just like I'm pretty sure you all been in relationships yourself, where you was in a relationship and a person, you know, talk about their ex, or, you know, never healed themselves within, and the same thing they did with their exes, you know what I mean, they do it with you, like it's the same routine. It's the same routine, you know, over and over and over again. You know, she going to different man, you going to different women, and it's like the same routine. That's why a lot of people in and out of relationships now, because they're not spiritually fit, they're not spiritually ready, they're not spiritually done, and they haven't healed every past soul tie off their energy. They still have soul ties connected to them that they have to get rid of, including myself. You know what I mean? And one thing about a soul tie, it don't go away fast. You know, you know, the more you stay on retention, the more you stay single, the more you practice celibacy, you know what I'm saying, the more that you remove certain attachments away from you. You know what I'm saying? And the moment you have sex with someone, you know, the energy transfers, you know. And what's going on nowadays, you know, people giving other people energy, you know, that's on them that they haven't cleared off them, instead of us giving each other our energy, our love. That's why love don't exist, you know, because people loving with other people's souls and spirits on them to a point that, you know what I'm saying, they never remove other people's spirits off of them for them to be able to love, you know what I'm saying? So this retention stuff perfectly, and, you know, women can sense that, you know, and that's the reason why women can sense a powerful, strong man. You know, a lot of dudes don't like men that come with power and authority, well, the low vibrational women, let's just put it like that, you know, they don't like that. They'll rather get a thug that's going, and I'm going to put you all, I know this ain't got nothing to do with, you know, the title of the video, but I'm going to put you all on game. So there's this thing that float around on social media and even on Instagram with people saying women love these thugs. Oh, she want a dude that ain't shit and all that stuff. You want me to tell you why a woman love thugs and even man that ain't shit? But let me start off with the thugs. The reason why she love thugs, because thugs are emotional. Dudes are very emotional. Thug dudes are very emotional. They're not masculine. You know, they react off feelings. They always, you know, they feel like they got something to prove. They are, you know, a lot of them, you know, 100% of black men, you know, or men in general, you know, of our race, you know, are locked up in jail due to their emotions. And what women are very emotional, right? So you put two and two together, emotions. You know, that adds up. But a man that basically masculine, oh, he too strict, he too authority. I want to go, be with the thug because he going to beat me up. Or, oh, with this thug, you know what I'm saying? He can entertain my emotions better than a masculine man. You ever notice masculine man don't even really argue or not argue at all? They set boundaries and they set rules, and it's either the woman go for it or don't. Like that don't affect the true man, the man that's walking around in his masculinity, whether she go or stay, but he's gonna set some boundaries up, so she can understand. But the thug, he don't come to the table with boundaries. He just come to the table with emotions. Hell, you even have a lot of them giving them money, spoiling them. To be honest, a lot of them say F the hoes, but them the one doing the tricking. If you ask me, the good guys are too. But they the ones that really doing the tricking, but behind closed doors doing the tricking. But in public to say fuck these hoes, and then to go to the strip club next week. You got some that don't operate on that type of time, but you got some that'll be on that level, like fuck these hoes and everything, but to be in the strip club that next week, like dude, or they drop these songs or put this image on. You know what I'm saying? Like the blind leading the blind, like they got something to prove. And a lot of, guys in the hood, 9 times out of 10, are very emotional. So that rubs off on a woman. She like a man that she could argue with and, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or not even only street dudes, though. It's trick dudes that don't have standards as man and never tapped into their inner masculinity to have self-respect for themselves, to have everything around them to respect them, even their lady. And a lot of these thugs are very emotional, and that's why they like thugs, because they very emotional. They get in the time versus a man that stand on rules and stand on boundaries. He ain't gonna play with us, you know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? That's a brother in his masculinity that know what he want, that have standards, that ain't selling his soul for no cat. You know what I'm saying? That's standing on business in actuality. But, that's the reason why they like the thug dudes. You know what I'm saying? Because they super emotional like them versus a man that masculine. And the dudes that they consider ain't shit, the reason why they like them, same reason. You know what I'm saying? Same reason, like, a lot of guys that operate that way, you know what I mean? They don't, they don't hold a cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, they have women, all in their ear, to a point, like, basically, you know what I'm saying? Just all in their ear, basically, off of, you know what I mean? Making them, to attract their emotions, and instead of having them in line, you have some men out here, that have women that they have in line, but you have some men that don't have them in line to a point. You know what I mean? They don't respect him. You know what I'm saying? Due to him not respecting him. But the beauty of this journey, man, is that you're able to tap within your inner self. You're able to tap in spiritually. You're able to tap in and know what you want. You're able to tap in and not just settle for less. That's the beauty of the journey. And you guys, you know what I'm saying? Keep it pushing, keep it going, keep it glowing, keep it growing. And, Look at a woman more than her having a fat ass. You know, purify your eyes. And, you know, when you're able to look at women, you're able to look at them from a different light. From a different standpoint, a different light. You're able to examine women more and, you know, appreciate the real beauty of women. Because women are beautiful, but that can't be your main focus, man. I ain't gonna lie, retention plays a role of healing. And that is very important, man. Healing yourself. Healing yourself. Taking time with yourself. Not rushing. You know what I'm saying? Not being in a race. Feeling like you can't be alone. All of it. So, you know, I just wanted to drop a short video. I got more content I'm dropping. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. But brothers, even my women, y'all, you know, empower the self-discipline and have respect about yourself so, you know, others can respect you like you respect you. Don't be the person out here that don't respect yourself and just go for anything in life. You know, walk with integrity and power within. Y'all have a blessed day. Y'all show your boy some love. I'm dropping more content. And, you know, I'm going to be active a lot more. Y'all like, comment, subscribe. I love y'all. All my real followers and even my new followers that's joining. Peace.